Hello viewers, this is Charles and this is the next in my series Learn Programming and Game Development with Lua. In this video I'm going to talk about functions. Believe it or not, we've been using functions all along, so let's consider them in more detail. The function that we've been using most frequently is the print function, which is a predefined function in Lua. Every time we write print in our code, we're using the print function in Lua. A very large part of using a game framework or game engine is calling functions. So what is a function? A function is a reusable block of code. Now let us make our own function add that takes two numbers, adds them together and returns the result. So let's write some code. First I'm going to put a comment just to describe what the code is, so that if you look at the code on GitHub you'll be able to see which section of the video it relates to. As in previous videos, I'm going to divide the code into sections and I'm going to start with a comment to explain what's in the section. So I start by writing the keyword function, then the name of the function, then we need two parameters. Those are the two numbers that we're going to add together. I'm going to call them A and B, so A, B. I'm then going to close the brackets. Lua automatically indents the next line for me, and I'm simply going to return the result of adding them together. And I can do that by typing return and then A plus B. And then I need end to tell Lua, look, this is the end of the function. So now I'm going to define a couple of local variables, x and y, and add them together. So local x equals 200 and we'll have local y equals 100. I'm going to create a variable to store the result in, and I'm going to print it. Now I'm simply going to print result add to get the result to the console. And now let's run the code and check that it actually works. And you can see that we've printed 300, which is what we expect. So let's just look through the function. It's only 3 lines and just take it to pieces. So functions in Lua always start with the keyword function and they always have a name. Then they have parentheses which may contain parameters inside. And you can see this is the case. We have two parameters, A and B, which we add together. The parameters inside are optional. Then if we want to return something from the function, we use the return keyword followed by what we want to return. In this case, we're doing the addition in the return statement. In fact, if we think back to the previous tutorial, A plus B is an expression and that evaluates, in this case when you pass 200 and 100 in, that evaluates to 300. And then this whole statement, return A plus B, it returns the value of the expression A plus B. In other languages such as C, C++, Java and Rust, curly braces are used to delineate the block of code rather than this construct where you have end. I'm going to clear the output and then we're going to look at the second example. Now Lua, unlike many other languages, has the ability to return multiple values from a function. Let's see what that looks like in practice. So in computer graphics, colours are often defined in terms of their red, green and blue components, hence RGB. Let's have a function called colour add. And we're going to pass it RGB and then we're going to pass it some offsets. I'm going to call these X, Y and Z. And I'm going to return 3 colour components and I'm going to return R plus X, G plus Y and B plus Z. To do that we type return, then R plus X and then G plus Y B plus Z, and then go end. Let's try printing out a color plus an offset. So that's quite easy to do. We're going to put color add inside the print statement, and then we're going to just pass some colors in. So I'm going to pass 50 for each color channel, and I'm going to pass 50 for the offsets, and I expect to get back 100 for each. Let's see what we do actually get. And you can see when you run it, you get 100, 100, 100 for the RGB components. Generally, one probably wouldn't be printing out these values. Typically, you'd want to get these into variables. So let's see what that looks like. Now I'm going to declare 3 local variables for the 3 color components. Then I'm going to define an offset. And what I'm going to do is pass the offset 3 times. I'm going to get the values that are returned. I'm going to call these rcol, and then gcol, and then bcol, and then I call color add, and I'm going to pass rgb, and then offset, which I pass for the final 3 parameters. Then I'm going to print color components, and then I'm going to print each one out separately. And then I'm going to run it, and you can see that this has worked. So what happens if you delete bcol? Let's run it and find out. So here you can see, because we haven't specified bcol, we haven't declared it, when we try and print it we get nil, which in this instance really means doesn't exist. Okay, that's good so far. Let's put it back. What would happen if we declared a 4th local variable, but we didn't actually have a value for it returned from the function? Because you can see the function is going to return 3 values. So if we have a 4th, what happens to the 4th? Well, let's try and find out. Let's try alpha, A for alpha, and let's print it, and let's just see what happens. And again, you can see we get nil. So Lua is quite forgiving in this respect. And of course, you can test for nil using an if statement. I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you did, please click on the like and subscribe buttons. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.